Hello friends, comment ça va? Welcome to Cajun Charles, your place for Cajun cooking and a little storytelling. Hello friends, today is Mardi Gras and Cajun Charles is going to make you a little crawfish etouffee today. Make a little etouffee for my wife and I today. We didn't want to go out and fight the crowds tonight, even though there's not much here in Lexington. There's enough. So we decided to stay home, and I'm going to make a little crawfish etouffee. It's a simple dish, and this is going to be one of the ones that I cook a little quickly. First, I have my saucepan over here heating, and then we're going to be adding, first thing we're going to do is add a little butter to it. And then we're going to saute some onions. I got the Trinity right here: celery, onions, and bell pepper. It's the mixer. Some people just do this with just onions, but I like to use the Trinity. And then this is, you can get this at Kroger, at Walmart. This is a little quicker than having to sit there and chop up onions and bell pepper and celery. And then we're going to add a little garlic, about a half a can of tomato sauce, and I got a pound and a half of crawfish right here. And just so you know, it's not from China. It's actually Louisiana crawfish that I got right here in Lexington. And of course I'm drinking my Bud Light to kind of help things go along. Alright, so we're going to get started here. I've got my pan been heating right here, and we're going to add a stick of butter to it. And while we got this butter melting, I'll tell you a quick little story. There was old Abraham. He'd been working for this industrial company in South Louisiana for a long time. And then they had a fire. And Abraham, he didn't do too good in that fire. He died. But he got burned up pretty bad, so they didn't know for sure whether it was Abraham or not. So the coroner and the mortician, they decided they'd call his two best friends, Boudreaux and Thibodeau. So they called Boudreaux and they had him come down there to the morgue, and he brought him in there and they said, hey, we think this is your friend Hebert. We need you to identify him. So Boudreaux looked at him for a little bit. He said, man, he burned up pretty good. He goes, yeah. He said, can you do me a favor and turn him over, flip him over to the other side? So they looked at him and they said, well, okay. So they flipped him over. Boudreaux looked at it for a minute. He said, nah, that's not Hebert. That's not my friend. He said, nope, that's not him. And he left. So then Thibodeau came. Same thing. They had him turned over on his back, and he's looking at him a little while, and he said, yeah, he's burned pretty bad. I can't see his face, but can you flip him over? And they said, okay. So they flipped him over, and he looked at him for a few seconds and said, nope, that's not Hebert. So the mortician said, now wait a minute, Thibodeau. Boudreaux was in here earlier, and he said the same thing. They couldn't tell from the face, but he had flipped him over, and he said it wasn't him. What y'all looking at? He said, man, he said, Abraham, he had two buttholes. And said, this man here only got one butthole. He said, what do you mean he had two buttholes? He said, well, everybody in town knew Abraham had two buttholes. Well, how did everybody know? He said, well, every time me and Boudreaux and Hebert come to town, we'd be walking down the street and everybody'd say, hey, Hebert, and your two buttholes. So he must have had two buttholes. All right, our butter is melted. And we're going to take this mix of celery, onions, and bell pepper. And add it to our pot. And a little bit more heat. And for those that have been watching Cajun Charles for a while, seeing me cooking. In case you don't notice, I don't have my electric stove anymore. The electric stove, it had its 25 years, and my gorgeous little wife, Lori, she let me finally have a gas stove. So, I am one happy Cajun. We're going to let that saute. We're going to take a little bit of Cajun Charles seasoning. Just a little bit at first. We're going to let that saute for a while. All right, friends, we're back, and our onions have been sauteing. You can see they're starting to get a little clear, and we want to add a little garlic to it. Never burn your garlic. Don't put it in too early. You want it to cook a little bit, but not too much. All right, our next thing we're going to do, we're going to add our crawfish. Like I said, we've got about 1.5 pounds here of Louisiana crawfish. Then we want to add about 1/2 can, maybe 3/4 a can of tomato sauce. Yeah, about 3/4 of a can. Then we need to add to this about 1 cup of water and a little flour. Now what I like to do, give me some water. And I'll just add a little flour to this water. Stir it up in here, because if you try to add it in the pot, you can eventually get it, but most of the time it clumps, and we don't like that. No, we don't like clumpy flour. All right, friends, it's been cooking about 10 to 15 minutes. As you can see, it's looking really good. And now we're going to add a couple of things. We're going to use a little Cajun Chef hot sauce. Even though my wife's filming, I don't want her to see. Just put a little bit. And then we're going to add some green onions. And a little parsley. All right. Now we're going to let that cook about another 5 minutes, and then it'll be ready to eat. So In 5 minutes, I'll see you later. I'll show you what it looks like served over rice. Well, it's been about 15 minutes since this has been cooking, and it's time to give it a taste. I got my potato salad that I made there. I like potato salad with this. I got my little etouffee here. Put it in my rice. You know, this almost looks as good as my Uncle Harold. My Uncle Harold Verrett, he made a great etouffee. Sausage, oh yeah. Crawfish Etoufee. And it's Mardi Gras tonight, and when we finish eating this, guess what I'm gonna make for dessert? I got me some Café du Monde beignet mix. I'm gonna make us a little beignets after a while. So, there were 2 things that changed during this video today. Can you find them? Did you notice? If you do, put them in the comments below. Again, thank you very much for watching Cajun Charles. Au revoir, bonsoir. Hello friends. If you would like to ride along with me in my P-Row and learn some more about my Cajun cooking and hear a few more of my Cajun stories, click the subscribe button below. And if you would like to know when I've docked my little P-Row and ready to cook and tell stories, hit the little bell. Merci beaucoup.